if you believe that corporal punishment is appropriate, and some people would go so far as to say it's my obligation to raise a child and appropriately punish them, the issue then still becomes, at what point does the punishment of a child, the discipline of a child, become illegal? And again, that's a real hard question to answer.
Our legal analyst and criminal defense attorney David Mugridge with the fundamental question a 12-person jury is going to have to answer in the child cruelty case against Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula. The jury is in place now, 6 men and 6 women. The trial expected to last anywhere from 7 to 10 days. And that's where we begin this week for our panel. They're ready to weigh in. Let's take roll call. Our political analyst and the host of the podcast Unfiltered with Jim Veros, and again, he makes a killer pizza, Jim Veros. You can hear him on KMJ. Political commentator Mike Dermanuel Jr. and former Fresno County Supervisor Henry Perea also here with us this morning. And guys, I'll tell you what, and Henry, I think I want to start with you here. We've heard so many people talk about this case so far. There's been so much chatter in the court of public opinion. Also, you know, we're going to have a lot of the meat of the trial and the testimony coming up. What we haven't heard is from the Democratic leaders, not only locally, but over there in Sacramento, not backing Joaquin Arambula. Why is that?
Well, I don't know if it's a matter of not backing as much as people are waiting to see what happens. I think a lot of people are, some would say shocked, some would say surprised about what's happening, but the bottom line is people are waiting for the trial to play itself out. So I think people are just quietly waiting to see what happens. So
you don't think the Democratic Party here locally has lost faith in Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula?
I'm not hearing that locally. Mm-hmm. You know, I know up in Sacramento, a lot of folks talking, you know, but the same conversation we're having, what's going to happen? Nobody knows until this trial's over and then he makes a decision.
Mike, I'll come to you now. I mean, Arambula's got a tough battle here. Whether he wins or loses is really a non-factor at this point because his political career, it's damaged at this point. Is that right to say?
Well, I'm not sure it's right to say. You know, I really feel bad for this family because they look like good people. And if I could look at anything I think would be a mistake by Mr. Arambula, it would be that maybe he was not forthcoming originally with the nature of the discipline that he had imposed on his daughter. And you know, I look at this trial and I think to myself, you know, these don't seem like the worst parents in Fresno County. There's probably thousands that do far worse to their kids. So I'm kind of on their side on this. I'm kind of wondering why this is a case. And I think he probably made a mistake in the very beginning that made it a case, which is not being forthcoming about what happened in his own home.
Jim, you've been following it closely. Arambula expected to testify and is going to have to convince a jury that this was not abuse. If you're on this jury, what do you need to hear?
Boy, that's tough. And obviously we talk about the political ramifications of what happens with this case and the legal analysis of it. He doesn't need the entire jury to believe him. He needs one juror to believe him. Yeah. Because I don't see this case being retried if it's a hung jury. Once again, I'm not a deputy DA or anything, but I just don't see that happening. So, you know, we'll see how the evidence plays out. Obviously, this is a misdemeanor charge. We'll see how it moves forward. Politically, some of the evidence that they were discussing during jury selection was pretty tough to take a look at. So we'll see how that plays, and obviously that's why he has his due process, and Joaquin Arambula needs to have that due process. That's what makes our country great. So we'll see how it plays out politically. Obviously, you still hear from Sacramento that they are planning either a special or that if he does survive this, that this will be his last term.
All right, I do want to move on to Andrew Janz announcing his bid to run for mayor 2020, trying to unseat Mayor Lee Brand. We've already seen some of the fireworks. I mean, we're 18 months away, it seems like. I know we're starting early, guys, but Mike, I want to come to you first. You've been very critical of Andrew Janz. Your thoughts of him trying to unseat Mayor Brand. We're talking about experience in Mayor Brand versus maybe some new blood, some fresh ideas, like Andrew Janz said.
I'm not critical at all of the idea of running. I do agree that we need robust campaigns in our community. It does bring out the best in people. It sharpens their ideas. It gets them thinking about what they want to accomplish for their town. And Fresno's changing. Fresno's moving in a direction of more of a blue or more of a liberal type of a city. So politically, I think Mr. Janz has a chance. But I think it's going to be a political decision if he wins by the voters. If it's a decision based on experience, qualifications, and track record, then I still have to give Lee Brand the edge. And we don't really know if this is the end of who's going to be declaring for mayor either.
We know. I know there's chatter out there.
So these kind of things excite me. I want to see an exciting race with a lot of fireworks, a lot of discussion of the issues, and so I think it's going to be fun. And I think it's good for the city to have a good, robust campaign.
And I know you're not critical of a robust campaign. What I was meaning is you were critical of Janz when he was going against Devin Nunes.
Well, of course, because Devin Nunes is someone that I've supported for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, but it's listen, politics is just one of those things. You line up behind your candidates.
But this is not supposed to be politics. We're talking about the mayor of Fresno.
Oh, it's politics.
Guys,
keep going back to this. It is politics.
I'm being sarcastic, folks. I'm being sarcastic. So politics plays a huge role in this when everybody says, hey, it's supposed to be nonpartisan.
Yeah, of course. I mean, people, even though there's no designation on the ballot, people are sending out flyers saying, hey, guess what, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. That's just the way it is. Because the voters want to know. I mean, because voters look at it two ways. One is if you're in the city, they're saying, what are you going to do that's going to improve the quality of life when I walk out my front door? My trees, my sidewalk, my street, my safety. But by the same token, too, they're saying, okay, but where might I be sending you? Am I sending you beyond this to Congress or to wherever? So people want to know what people's affiliations are.
And Jim, before I get to you, you're a former Fresno City Council member for years. You know Lee Brand. You also like Andrew Janz as well. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, no question. In our democracy, it is good to have a robust competition with folks. It hones people's skills. It gets new ideas out. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Lee Brand. He's a good guy. If I had any observation to make of his first 2.5 years of his administration, I think he picked the wrong team to help him administer his vision. And I'm still waiting to hear what his vision is. But the one thing I think City Hall has lacked for over 20 years since they brought in the strong mayor form of government is they haven't had the right person that can connect vision to implementation. That's where you've seen it fail.
And Jim, is this, I mean, again, you're pitting experience versus maybe the lack of experience in Andrew Janz in city government alone. He can connect with people. We saw that in the congressional race. So how do you see this kind of formulating? You think new blood is what the city of Fresno needs?
Yeah, and we spoke about this last time Andrew Janz was on here, and I said that Mayor Lee Brand needed to take this very, very serious. And it appears that he is definitely taking it very serious this week. Listen, Ashley Swearingen didn't really have a whole lot of City Hall experience when she ran for mayor. So obviously the experience is going to be out there. I think Andrew Janz is going to connect with the Yes on P folks for sure. He's got to rally them. I'm not sure Lee Brand is as weak as people are saying that he is out there, because I think that if he was that weak, my friend down the table would be looking for a rematch. So I don't see that. So listen, Andrew's going to work very, very hard, and I'm not sure this is the last candidate that's going to be coming out.
Real quick, I have 5 seconds. Raise your hand if you think Chief Jerry Dyer is going to enter the race.
I don't.
No. Nope.
No.
Okay.
No.
There you go. I was interested to find out. There's our first poll of 2019.